The world watched in disbelief as the United States, once a stalwart champion of global health, withdrew from the World Health Organization in January 2025. This momentous decision, echoing with far-reaching consequences, sent shockwaves through the international community. The U.S. exit, the culmination of years of simmering tensions and criticisms, marked a turning point in global health governance, leaving a void in leadership and casting a shadow of uncertainty over the future of pandemic preparedness and response. This decision, while shocking, was not entirely unexpected. The seeds of discontent had been sown for years. The Trump administration's vocal criticism of the WHO's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, coupled with accusations of bias towards China and calls for organizational reform, had significantly strained the relationship. The U.S. withdrawal represents a significant setback for global health efforts. It raises serious concerns about the WHO's ability to effectively address future health emergencies and undermines decades of progress in disease eradication and control. The impact of this decision extends far beyond the halls of Geneva, reverberating across the globe, particularly in developing countries heavily reliant on WHO support. The financial, operational, and geopolitical ramifications are profound, demanding careful analysis and a collective response from the international community. The U.S., as the largest single contributor to the WHO, played a critical role in funding the organization's diverse programs and initiatives. With an annual contribution exceeding $1 billion, representing 22% of the WHO's mandatory budget and 18% of its overall funding, the U.S. withdrawal has created a gaping financial hole. This loss of funding has plunged the WHO into a state of financial precarity, jeopardizing its ability to deliver essential health services and programs worldwide. The immediate impact is being felt most acutely in developing countries, many of which rely heavily on WHO funding for essential healthcare services. These nations, already grappling with limited resources and fragile healthcare systems, are now faced with the daunting prospect of funding gaps jeopardizing vital programs. The consequences are dire disruptions to vaccination campaigns, shortages of essential medicines, and a weakened ability to respond to disease outbreaks. The potential resurgence of diseases like polio, measles, and tuberculosis, once on the verge of eradication, looms large. The funding shortfall also threatens to cripple the WHO's ability to respond effectively to future pandemics. Early warning systems crucial for detecting and containing outbreaks at their source are at risk. Research and development of new vaccines and treatments, essential for combating emerging infectious diseases, face significant setbacks. The U.S. withdrawal from the WHO has dealt a significant blow to global health security, leaving the world more vulnerable to infectious disease threats. One of the most immediate and concerning impacts is the weakening of disease surveillance and response systems, particularly in resource-limited countries. The WHO plays a critical role in coordinating global disease surveillance, collecting and analyzing data from member states to identify and track outbreaks. The U.S., with its advanced public health infrastructure and expertise, has been a key player in these efforts. However, the withdrawal has created a significant gap in global surveillance capacity. The absence of timely and accurate data from the U.S., coupled with reduced funding for WHO surveillance programs, hampers the organization's ability to detect and respond to outbreaks swiftly. This delay increases the risk of diseases spreading undetected across borders, potentially escalating into full-blown epidemics or even pandemics. Furthermore, the U.S. withdrawal has weakened international collaboration on pandemic preparedness and response. The WHO relies on the cooperation of member states to share information, coordinate response efforts, and develop strategies for combating emerging health threats. The U.S., with its scientific expertise and resources, has been a vital partner in these endeavors. The U.S. withdrawal from the WHO is not merely a matter of public health, it carries profound geopolitical ramifications, reshaping the global health landscape and signaling a retreat from multilateralism. This decision has created a void in global health leadership, leaving other nations to grapple for influence and potentially reshape the balance of power. China, eager to assert itself on the world stage, has seized upon the opportunity presented by the U.S. retreat. It has increased its financial contributions to the WHO and positioned itself as a leading advocate for global health cooperation. This shift in dynamics has raised concerns among some Western nations about China's growing influence within the organization and its potential impact on global health governance. The U.S. withdrawal also undermines its own soft power and influence on the world stage. As a founding member and major financial contributor to the WHO, the U.S. has historically wielded significant influence within the organization. However, its decision to withdraw, coupled with its perceived unilateralism during the COVID-19 pandemic, has damaged its reputation and credibility as a global health leader. Section 5, America Adrift, Public Health on Shaky Ground. While the global implications of the U.S. withdrawal from the WHO are undeniable, the decision also carries significant consequences for the health and well-being of the American people. The U.S., despite its advanced healthcare system, is not immune to the threat of infectious diseases as evidenced by the devastating impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. The U.S. withdrawal from the WHO has weakened its own public health security by limiting its access to timely and reliable global health information. The WHO serves as a critical hub for sharing information on disease outbreaks, surveillance data, and emerging health threats. By withdrawing from the organization, the U.S. risks isolating itself from this vital information network, potentially delaying its response to future outbreaks. Furthermore, the decision to withdraw has strained relationships with key allies, many of whom have expressed disappointment and concern over the U.S.'s decision. These strained relationships could hinder future cooperation on global health issues, making it more difficult to coordinate responses to future pandemics and address shared health threats. Section 6. A relationship fractured. Reasons behind the U.S. exit. The U.S. withdrawal from the WHO did not occur in a vacuum. It was the culmination of years of mounting frustration and dissatisfaction with the organization. While the immediate catalyst for the withdrawal was the Trump administration's criticism of the WHO's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, the underlying reasons are more complex and multifaceted. One of the primary drivers of the U.S. decision was the belief that the WHO had become too deferential to China, particularly in its early response to the COVID-19 outbreak. The Trump administration accused the WHO of failing to hold China accountable for its lack of transparency and its initial downplaying of the severity of the virus, allegations that the WHO vehemently denied. Another key factor was the U.S.'s long-standing concern about its disproportionately large financial contribution to the WHO. As the largest single contributor, the U.S. has long argued that other countries, particularly high-income nations, should shoulder a greater share of the financial burden. The Trump administration, in line with its America First agenda, sought to reduce U.S. financial commitments to international organizations, including the WHO. Section 7. Picking up the pieces, whose response and the path forward. The WHO, reeling from the impact of the U.S. withdrawal, has been forced to confront the daunting task of navigating a future without its largest financial contributor. The organization, while acknowledging the significant challenges ahead, has expressed its determination to continue its mission of promoting global health and responding to health emergencies. In the immediate aftermath of the U.S. withdrawal, the WHO emphasized its commitment to working with all member states, including the U.S., to address global health challenges. The organization acknowledged the need to address the concerns raised by the U.S. and other member states, particularly regarding transparency, accountability, and the need for reforms. The WHO has also embarked on a series of initiatives to mitigate the financial impact of the U.S. withdrawal. These efforts include diversifying its funding sources, engaging with potential new donors, and exploring innovative financing mechanisms. The organization has also appealed to existing member states to increase their contributions to help bridge the funding gap. Section 8. A future uncertain global health at a crossroads. The U.S. withdrawal from the WHO marks a turning point in global health governance, ushering in an era of uncertainty and raising profound questions about the future of international cooperation on health issues. The world is now faced with the challenge of navigating a complex and evolving global health landscape without the leadership and financial support of its most powerful nation. The absence of the U.S. from the WHO creates a void in global health leadership, leaving a vacuum that other nations, particularly China, are eager to fill. This shift in power dynamics has the potential to reshape the global health landscape, influencing priorities, shaping agendas, and driving decision-making within the organization. The U.S. withdrawal also raises concerns about the future of multilateralism and the ability of the international community to effectively address global challenges. The WHO, as a specialized agency of the United Nations, embodies the principles of international cooperation and collective action. The U.S. decision to withdraw undermines these principles, setting a dangerous precedent for other nations considering disengaging from international institutions. Section 9. A call for unity, the imperative of global health cooperation. The U.S. withdrawal from the WHO serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of international cooperation and the interconnectedness of global health. In an increasingly interconnected world, where infectious diseases know no borders, the need for global solidarity and collective action has never been greater. The COVID-19 pandemic has laid bare the devastating consequences of global health insecurity. It has highlighted the importance of a strong and effective WHO, capable of coordinating a rapid and effective response to health emergencies. The U.S. withdrawal at this critical juncture undermines these efforts and jeopardizes global health security. It is not too late for the U.S. to reconsider its decision and re-engage with the WHO. The international community must come together to reaffirm its commitment to multilateralism, strengthen global health governance, and ensure that the WHO has the resources and support it needs to fulfill its vital mission. The health and well-being of humanity depend on it.